Hello everybody, Drew here, Tip of the Mitt Flips, where I'm a full-time eBay reseller, and every 100 subscribers, there's a giveaway. So if you're watching, make sure you subscribe so you have a chance to win. Today I have 12 orders going out for about $170. That's just over $14 an item. That is much better than it has been, and definitely a decent amount of sales. Also, I've been in contact with somebody. I'd mentioned 2 videos ago how I've been getting more than usual of people selecting local pickup on accident or not knowing how they did it. But the person I spoke to this last time, their order might come back at any time because they said, no, that was an accident. I don't know how I happened to do that. I'm an eBay reseller. So that makes me think that eBay probably has some type of glitch or mistake in the system where it's showing people free shipping or whatever it is. I'm going to pass the buck on eBay on that one and say maybe the customers did select something they thought was correct and it gave them local pickup. I'm not sure. But the Rainmate, the lady was definitely rude, saying, no, I ordered blah, blah, whatever. I won't go into it. She was being very rude, but also her English was kind of choppy, so she had 0 feedback. That one, I think, was probably confusion, but because of this recent one, I think maybe there's an issue with eBay going on. So I think I am going to turn off local pickup and just offer it if somebody actually asks me, which is very rare to never. First thing going out on B2C is Little Mermaid Christmas decorations. These were, I think, McDonald's, if I'm not mistaken, but very cool. Reminds me of my childhood. I would have kept them if I didn't already have a set of these on my tree. Also, we have the Snow White little mice one as well. But the mice ones sold almost immediately, and I got those, I think, July, sometime like midsummer. I think I took an offer, but I did run a sale this weekend. So if prices seem a little weird, it's either an offer or it was on sale. But this one, $16.99 free shipping. Next thing up on B1, $19.99 Thai Beanie Baby, also McDonald's. And I just sold the other set of these last week. So that's cool to get rid of some more Beanie Babies that I will never buy again. But it's these ones right here. And I took an offer on these ones with all the Beanie Babies, which I have very few left at this point, and I am very thankful for that. Get them out of here. I'll take any offer because they have shipping included. Just want them gone. But on this one, $12.99 plus shipping. And that's kind of the difficult part with them is, of course, you're not going to get a ton of money, but also if you put them in big lots, the shipping is expensive. They're heavy, and heavy relative to what they are. Next up on A4, Harmony Kingdom figurine Christmas thing. Not really sure. It's called something. Let me double check it. It's I don't know. I can't remember, but it was like some type of secret box, or I don't know. I don't know what purpose it could possibly serve, but it's very cool looking. It's carved out of, it's got to be wood, but no, it looks like it's got some type of maybe horn, maybe bone. I don't really know, but it's interesting looking nonetheless. And it's got to be carved. I really don't know, but it's neat. You open it up and inside there's a little fireplace. And I didn't notice this at first, but then when you put it on, you realize that it is the reindeer trying to get Fat Santa out of the chimney. He's stuck and they're trying to pull him out. And this one's using dynamite and got a terrible grimace on his face. Really a cool thing. But this one unfortunately had some damage to it right there. But even damaged, I got $17.99 free shipping. So that's great. And next up, it's a book. 1946 Green Grass Wyoming something. The Green Grass of Wyoming. No idea. Antique book. Not in the best shape. Most of the antique books I have are not in fantastic shape. And also something weird I've figured out is if it looks cool to me, it's probably not worth anything. There was a children's book, 1905. I don't remember what it was, but the outside had these really ornate decorations, and it had like the impression into the cover and all that, and it looked very cool. There was like 7 listed, 0 sold. The ones that were listed are like $7. That goes in the selling as a lot for staging, which if you didn't see when I got the books, I spoke about if you do have hardcover antique books, they don't even have to be antique, but hardcover books, you can lot them up in a group of 5, 10, whatever seems feasible for shipping. And if they have a color scheme, green, blue, cream, whatever, you lot them up as staging books, and people just put them as decorations on a shelf because they're never going to read them anyways. They just want them to be the color scheme of the room. So I've been stockpiling all those ones together to eventually list like that once I have all the books worth selling listed. And that one, $12.99 free shipping. Then we have on A4 Corningware F12C. A1, 2, 3, 4. F12C. F12C. One right in my hand. What are the odds? There's like 5 up there exactly the same looking, but different. And I grabbed the right one. And I got $8.99 plus shipping. Then we have a very old listing because it does not have a custom SKU number. It's still going to be in the title. So that also is not in the title. So I know what shelf that's on because it was my final stuff to be transferred over shelf. So it narrows it down a little bit. But it's a Corningware pour spout 1 liter. So it's got to be on this shelf because that was kind of the last stuff in the old system. Corning, amber, vision glass, all the other keywords, pour spout, and let me just double check. 1 liter, and we've got 1 liter. That's the one. $21.37 plus shipping. After that, these are going to take a while to sell, but I'm in the money at this point, so they store well. But it is on C3. It's a CP912. C3, and then a CP912. CP902. 902. 912. CP912. It is a... What's this one? This one is a umbrella cover. And how I ship those is I take a shoebox, a USPS shoebox, and then I will take a USPS shoebox half, and I cap it by telescoping, which if you don't know how to do that, watch my last video where I showed you how I telescoped and Frankenboxed this monstrosity that's right here. And that video, I knew it was going to have low viewership because it doesn't have a lot of entertainment value, but I was hoping what it'll end up being is what they call an evergreen video, where it could be 5 years down the road and I can still refer people back to that video on how to do the process, and I don't have to make the video again, which I did make that video before, but it was very early. It was like my 4th or 5th video, so the editing wasn't great, the camera work wasn't great, so I figured an updated version was necessary. But on that umbrella cover right there, $23.69 plus shipping. And then this one, I gotta try to remember to refund their shipping, because I always, if somebody's like, hey, can I combine the shipping on these, blah, 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 I always say, yes, of course I will. But do I remember to do it all the time? No. But on B4 and B1, we have Royal Worcester Egg Coddlers. B4, there's the one on B1. 1, 2, 3, and B4 right here. And the reason these were 2 separate listings instead of just a multi-quantity is because one of them, the lid was very different and it wasn't really meant, I don't think it's meant for it. So I made sure to disclose that in the listing and picture it very well that they were not exactly the same and possibly not meant to go with that set. But for one of them, I got $18.89 plus shipping. And for the other one, I got $17.99 plus shipping. Of course, I will combine the shipping and refund the difference. And also, just one of those, how I do it, you do it however you want. When I refund somebody's shipping, that is going to be a rounded off number. I'm never going to bust out a calculator and figure out exactly what the difference was. I'm going to do the math in my head, and I'm going to round that off to the nearest dollar. I think that's fair. I think that's best for me for ease of doing it and all the above. And I think also the customer will 100% be okay with that. And then in the, overall scheme of things, you definitely make sure you cover your extra handling, your extra packing materials that are not being covered in the shipping cost of whichever one it happens to be covered under. Next up on A4, it is Winter's Bourbon Cask. 1, 2, 3, 4. A4 tap. This snowman right here. Winter's Bourbon Cask Ale. And it's a beer tap for this beer, which I've never heard of. I got this at a garage sale this year. I think I might have paid $1 for it. And I got $24.29 free shipping. And this actually, it looks like it's ceramic, but I don't know. It might be painted wood, but it's very light. It's going to go first class. Then another book, The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. I almost kept this because Ernest Hemingway is my favorite author, and I haven't read this one yet, but I have a weird thing about if I read a book, it has to be a hardcover. I don't know why. It doesn't feel right when I'm reading it. It feels like homework. That's just me. I don't get it. I don't know if it's not a hardcover book, it's not going to get read, which I also don't read that often. So I need to give myself every opportunity to actually read the book I can. And so I decided go ahead and sell that one, and I'll just buy the hardcover, which I have other Ernest Hemingways in my collection that are hardcovers. So I'll probably, when I go to read it, just buy the one that matches the ones I have, which are in no way first editions. I'm not going that crazy where I got to spend extreme amounts of money to get a book. $8 free shipping for that. And then this one, I listed it because it was here, and I said, why not? Give it a shot. Why not? Give it a shot. On A4, it's 3-inch reinforced gum tape, which came with the gum tape dispensers that I had and sold 2 of. Did I have 4? I sold some amount of them. I have 1 remaining. They were not a great buy. I eventually just got to the point where I needed to try to break even, just get rid of them. So even the one that I know worked 100%, I listed as parts. I just needed it gone. But it had gum tape in one of them. I figured, how much is that worth? I looked it up, and I think I did half price of what a brand new roll would cost. And I figured some penny pincher eventually would buy it. And that's what happened. Not to call anybody names, but I'm assuming that's what happened. $5.99 plus shipping. All right, and that order didn't come back in from the lady who was buying it. It was the Jockey clay chips. So at some point, she's probably going to repurchase those today. And if she does it in a timely fashion, I'll probably still ship them out today because, Christmas coming up. It's probably a gift. And shipping has been, as far as I've heard, very smooth this year. I haven't heard of any major stoppage. I haven't heard of any major checkpoints. Chicago was a nightmare last year. That was any of my packages that went Chicago route weren't making it on time. Anything that went the other way, went through Detroit or any way the other direction, good to go. Even stuff that went international, if it went to Chicago, not a chance. Anywhere else, it was good. But I haven't seen any of that. I'd still like to get ahead of it if I can. So that will bring us to the tip of the day. And today's tip of the day is make sure you're doing your general upkeep. And general upkeep for me, and the specific example, is that my computer, my PC was acting up, and I have some knowledge of computers, but not enough to get into all the stuff and start pulling stuff apart and doing all that. I'm not messing with that. I'll pay somebody to do it. I do know enough that if it is dirty inside, it can make things happen by physical gunk being in there. And so I'll show you a couple pictures right here of how disgusting the inside of my computer was. So be aware, which I'm very aware of it because I often pull apart electronics like this, like all of these And all of these, and all of these, every single one of those I pull apart and clean out, because if it's functioning now, that gunk inside does not guarantee it's going to function later. It can affect it. And it was, as you saw in the pictures, disgusting. So make sure you're doing your general upkeep to avoid the emergency breakage or having to replace something sooner than you need to. Make sure your printers aren't getting gunked up. Make sure you're not smashing your digital readouts all the time. If something keeps bumping it, find a better way to do it. Just, it's your stuff. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you time. It's not where you're at, you know, your hourly job and it's a write-off for them, which also, that can be a thing. It's just a write-off. Don't worry about it. But let's not go there. These are your things. Take care of them. Think about it. If you think about it, do it. That's my issue. I'll think about it, and then I forget to do it until the next time I think about it and possibly forget to do it. Also today, got a viewer question from PSG, aka Julian. And Julian says, do you talk about your daily schedule sometimes? What's a typical week for when it comes to sourcing, listing, packing, etc.? Etc., etc. One of those words I never say right. Now, this has changed a lot in the last year. As of the first of the year, not technically, but that's how I'm counting it, I became a full-time eBay reseller. It started a couple months before that, but let's call it first of the year. I was putting in around 60-ish, 60 plus hours a week. But that's because I had just a overwhelming amount of stuff to list, of back stock, because I was doing it on the side, I was doing it part-time, and so I was buying at a lot higher rate than I was listing. So that was number one. The next thing is, when you're trying to switch from not full-time to full-time, the weight of needing income, of needing to be providing through selling on eBay, that weight holds a lot of, has a lot of pressure to it. So there was definitely felt the pressure under the gun, gotta make this work. So there was that. And as it went on, that tapered off a little. And this is just in general, including everything, packing, sourcing, shipping, all of it. That tapered off a little bit, but then it reached a point where, just like any job, you're not really doing real work for some of that, and you need to reassess personally what that is to you. For me, if I put in a 6-hour workday, I'm getting in 100% maximum Drew for 6 hours. If I add another 4 hours onto that day, that's going to dive off the further it goes. So that might turn into, you know, you're getting 70% work output. You're getting 40% work output. So those extra hours don't always add up to the extra dollars that make it worth doing. And for me, that turned into around 6 hours. That changes depending on if I go garage sailing in the weekend, and if I have to travel, or if I get a bunch of orders, how much packing there is to be done. Because there was, when I set my record for most orders to pack, there was also 4 or 5 large FedEx or UPS packages, which take a lot more time. And it was about 6 hours of just packing. So those kind of days can really skew it into the more hours direction. But whatever that is for you, that's kind of what you got to decide is, does working this extra hour give me the output that makes it worth working that extra hour? And for me, that's about 30 hours a week. Anything beyond that, I'm half-assing it. And not like I'm like, oh, I don't want to be here, being lazy. It's just you're sluggish, you slow down, you're just not into it as much. So it's not actually worth it. This is a proven fact across all jobs. There are certain countries that they only do a 30-hour work week. There are certain places that certain large companies, U.S. companies, that give extended lunch breaks. They give, I want to say it's Google doesn't have scheduling. You show up when you want. You work when you want. You got a key card, you can get in, you do the work. If you want to go swim in their pool or play ping pong, you go do it, because your productivity is in a very short amount of time. The rest of it, you're fooling yourself. So that's kind of how mine goes. As far as the difference between them, I would say out of the 30 hours, 28 hours a week to, you know, whatever this. So, because I'm saying 30-ish, it could be 35, it could be 40 some weeks. But out of it, I would say 90% of that time is packing and listing. Sourcing for me takes very little time. I don't source very far. I don't have to source very often because I don't want to be that guy that has 3 storage units. I don't want to be that guy that has to buy a bigger garage because I got more stuff. That doesn't work for me. I don't need that. But that's about how my week goes. And that's gonna be all for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. Subscribe, share, and be good to each other.